So good morning, Sallyann, and welcome to the Pure Talk Season 5.
Good morning. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. It's been a bit of a
Yeah.
journey because you've moved house a few times.
Oh, complete nightmare. Sort of stress and excitement in equal measure, I think. But
You're
I'm getting
settled.
there.
You're settled now.
I am. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good. So we met at a Hawkhurst Ladies Who Latte
Yeah.
business meeting, and I love those. I love that opportunity to network with other ladies who are making it in the business world, and I've made some amazing connections as a result of those meetings. And I really connected with you.
Oh.
I think mainly because you've got such a lovely, warm personality, and you came across, really welcoming and with lots of empathy. But I think also you were talking about the importance of looking after yourself and the importance of having a positive habit and routine around wellness and self-care. And this is something that comes up all the time in my one-to-one coaching. I mean, I principally do business coaching for artists, but the amount of times that I have to talk to them about looking after themselves, because if they don't, then they won't have a business, because they'll burn out or they'll collapse or they'll be ill. And it's that thing about your body gives you messages, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
you have to hear them.
Yeah.
So your practice and your message really resonated with me. So could you first of all give us a little bit about the background about how you got into this area of coaching?
I guess it started with a career change. I'd worked in recruitment and executive search for a while, and I didn't find it particularly rewarding because it was sales, and I'm not a salesperson. But what it did do for me was to spike a real interest in people and understanding, well, why do you do that job? What is it that interests you? And all this. And people, as you said, I mean, people tend to open up to me, which I love, because I create a comfortable space for them to talk, and sometimes people just talk and feel better. Anyway, that really, as I say, ignited an interest in people. So I thought, okay, well, what else? What really interests me about this? And it's the people side, but it's also the careers. So that got me into outplacement. So supporting people through change, through redundancy, and obviously not everybody is mega anxious or stressed. Some people are quite happy about it, but there are a lot of people, obviously it's a really stressful time. And I always, I want to make a difference to people, and that is my motivation for doing what I do. And I love some of the feedback. I got feedback from a client recently who said, Sallyann was so helpful when I was going through a really difficult time, and she's just fantastic, and it's not often I blow my own trumpet, but I think that's something that we're not very good at doing. So working with people going through that kind of stressful experience, I wanted to be better enabled to help them. Obviously I can use my life experience, but I wanted to have more tools and resources. So that led me to become an accredited resilience coach. And that's been amazing because there are so many tools and resources. And a lot of it is, so much of it is common sense, which I think will come out in my tips. And from that, during the lockdown, I was, there's not a lot of work. So I thought, okay, what can I do that's going to be productive? So actually, I have coaching sessions myself, because coaches need coaching sessions as well. And one of the things that came out of that, buried deep in my subconscious, was my interest in nutrition, which has been there for a long time, but it's been buried because I thought, oh, no, I'll have to be a dietitian or a nutritionist and blah, blah, blah. And it's what I find with a lot of people I work with. They sort of close the shutters down. Think, I can't do that. But yes, you can do something similar, can't you? So I did an advanced diploma in nutrition and loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I think that came out also of the research that's been done most recently on the impact of nutrition on your mental health as well as your physical health. because I think the nutrition is really the basis of keeping you happy in mind and body. So for me, it's been an evolving career, because I think learning is one of my passions as well. If I'm not learning something, I'm bored. So
I think
yeah,
that's
so I
such a
felt that
healthy
would give me a complete
story.
holistic
Yeah, that's such a
package
healthy
to offer.
story, isn't it? Because it shows that our career journey, often we just end up in a role, by chance at the beginning. And then people say, oh, you're really good at this. And then you just keep going and they pay you money and you think, oh okay, I'll just keep doing that because they're paying me money.
Yes.
And then you think, hang on a minute, I'm not happy. And what do I do now? Because I'm not happy. I might be good at this, but I'm not happy. And it's really important for us, as having been through this, part of this life cycle, to say to younger people, it's okay. A career goes like that.
Absolutely.
Doesn't go like that. And you said, finding your passion points and digging deep into your psyche. That when you said that, it reminded me of that phrase, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, I haven't grown up yet. I'm still a work in progress.
What do you want to be when you grow up? And I always say that I'm not grown up yet. Even though I've got 3 grown-up children, I'm definitely not a grown-up yet. No. Don't put that label on me, please. I don't need that responsibility.
Absolutely not. And I think actually the younger generations are changing jobs and or changing careers much more than you and I did. I'm not going to say how long ago. But
I don't know. I was a bit of a serial job changer.
Yeah, it comes back to staying in your comfort zone. I think you need to get out of your comfort zone a bit and look at opportunities and raise your self-awareness, because so many people that I work with, they could get a gold medal in dumbing themselves down. They don't recognize their strengths or their achievements, but once you bring that into their awareness, actually I could do that, I'm quite good at this. I love it when people say I'm good at that. But it doesn't happen very often.
No, it's so cultural, isn't it? Like you just said, oh, I had a testimonial that said I was really good. But we don't like to tell people. We don't like, oh, yeah, thanks very much. I'll just put that in the cupboard. Just pop that in the drawer. You won't tell anyone about it.
Yes, I'm not going to put it on my LinkedIn page.
We just won an award for being the best mentoring specialist in the UK in our arts area, and we were all like, don't tell anyone. So they made me do a video, and it took me so out of my comfort zone to actually say, we're the best at this. We are the best. If you want to be a thriving artist, come to us. We're the best at this.
Absolutely.
And it's all that thing about, like you've just been talking about giving people access to talk, a safe space, helping them discover their passions, being okay if you get made redundant, and it gives you that's a great opportunity to go back and find the thing.
I would always say, where there's change, there's opportunity. So you think, okay, where's the opportunity for me now? But I think also with your career, with your well-being, it's almost like you have to step back. I don't know, every 10 years, 5 years, just to make sure, well, where am I going? What's my health? Because stress and anxiety and poor health can just creep up on you without you realizing it. So it's being aware of looking out for those signs, identifying those signs.
It's insidious, isn't it?
It is insidious, yes. And we're not very good at taking time to do that. And I think that's reflection. One of the things I offer is just step back. Let's just step back.
And take a moment.
And take a moment and see how you could be better, how you could be healthier, how you could enjoy yourself. Because for me, it's all about values and motivation and interest.
And joy.
You're interested in something, you're motivated.
That word joy.
We
weren't actually put here to suffer.
No.
What's that all about?
And I think for me, as I get older, you realize actually life is short. And there's a really good saying, time is life and time is your life. So every day is your life. and it's up to you to a great extent what you do with it.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. My mum's 84,
yeah.
and she was very, very unhappy about something the other day. Someone had done something, and I said, "Don't ruin your today by dwelling on that.
Yeah,
let it go. You don't know how many of those todays you've got, so don't ruin your this today by just worrying about that person.
No,
just
doesn't make
go.
any difference. It's not going to change anything. Worrying, we all do it, but worrying is a complete waste of time.
And then, why don't they teach this in school?
I know they should. They should do. Particularly now when we're going through such difficult times.
Have you done any teaching in schools?
No, not schools. No, the nearest I've done to that is workshops. I've facilitated workshops.
I agree. I do think 16-year-olds, especially as they start going into that difficult period of A levels and then working remotely, university and having to be independent. No one told me your brain was attached to your stomach.
No.
That would have been a revelation.
No. And it's all about, the immune system, what goes on in your gut basically regulates practically everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's your immune system, it's your cravings, it's the nutrition you get from your food.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
all the chemicals that hit your brain nodes.
And the hormones that it generates. And that's all about what your diet, what you want is food that generates serotonin to, give you that happy feeling.
What foods are they?
Oh, things like chicken and leafy vegetables and oily fish. I'm a big one for, and this is probably going through my tips a bit too early, but
don't go
it's
there
about eating real food.
Yeah, not processed.
As opposed to processed food, highly processed food.
So let's go on to the top tips then, because we've got 7 top tips. So the first one is health is your most important asset.
Yes. So
talk us through that.
Yeah, I think health is so important. I think pre-pandemic, the NHS did a survey and they reckon about only 2/5 of the population were concerned about being healthy, in simple terms. So they exercise, they eat a well-balanced diet.
It's quite worrying, isn't it?
It is.
As we're about to, is it hit 8 billion people on this planet?
Well, it's reckoned that about 5 million people die each year through obesity and poor diet. And so
That's
much
shocking.
Chronic
5 million people who didn't need to die.
No, but so most chronic diseases are preventable through lifestyle. A lot of it, you hear it all the time. It's lifestyle choices. So it's your choice. So for me, it's about coaching, because it has to be intrinsic. They have to want to do it. They're not doing it because, I'm going to give you £10 or somebody's going to give you a present. They're doing it because,
or their mum told them they had to do it.
I would say, why do you want to be healthy? What impact is that having on your life, on your relationships, on your hobbies, on your work?
So you have to value your health as an asset.
Yeah, I think it's about looking after your body. So with your diet, you look at it as everything you put in your mouth is nourishing you. It's nourishing every cell, every bone, your skin, everything in your body. So if you're putting rubbish in, you're going to get a low quality product as a result. And it's not rocket science. I don't like complicated things.
No.
So I would say eat food. So eat food ideally. I mean, there's between over 10 ingredients, unless it's sort of spices or something like that, then it's likely to be highly processed. So I say look at the packet. Ideally, cook your own food. And it's easy to cook healthy food. Doesn't take
and even now in this time when we're having this problem with obviously this issue around cost of living, someone asked me how can you eat healthy and save money, and I said, look, it's actually really cheap to eat healthy, because buying the actual raw ingredients is much cheaper than buying processed food. If you bought an orange and squeezed it yourself, that would cost you 40p. And if you buy it in a plastic bottle, you're paying for the orange, the man who squeezed it for you, the processing plant it went through, and the plastic bottle that it's been put in. Why would you do that? It's easy. And growing your own vegetables is easy. I proved the point. I chucked a load of seeds into the garden at the beginning of the summer and never went back. And then we had corn, leeks, potatoes, beetroot, never touched them. And we had no water over the summer, but I never touched them. I put them in like, I think it was May. And I went back out there in October and I was like, wow, this is about onions.
That is such a good point, because it's connecting you to your food. You know, because we used to, you know, go around the supermarket and picking up things that are wrapped in cellophane and think, oh, it's just there. But think about how it gets there.
Yeah, that conscious connection, isn't it, with your food?
Yeah, because now there's so much food available 24/7.
Yeah, Uber Eats and deliver to my door. Yeah. Someone else is making the decision for you when you send out on an app and ask them to bring you something. Someone else has made that decision for you, haven't they? Yeah, it's a very, very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I do advocate buying the raw ingredients and making it yourself. And as you say, it gives you a real connection with what you're eating as well.
Yeah, I make it and, you know, make the freezer your friend.
Yeah, we've just bought one of those air fryers.
Oh, I've got one. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, and so much, again, saving money, because so much cheaper to the run than doing like a slow cook in your oven. We tested it and it cost like 30 quid to make a slow cook in the oven. And it was like £2 in the air fryer to do the same thing.
And you're not using as much fat.
Yeah, there was no fat. So, yeah, but I mean, obviously the air fryer cost 300 quid to buy, but you can buy them.
Money
but I was like, it's not going to take many cooks, is it? When you think about how much electricity the oven takes to do a slow cook over like 4 hours or whatever. Then I said to because my husband was, you know, he watches the smart meter more than he watches the telly now. And he's got his headphones in, he can't hear. Oh, he can. And he was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, that's your oven. That's you cooking that slow cook. And you can see how much that's using now. And immediately he was like, we had some vouchers. So we went into John Lewis and used the vouchers to buy an air fryer. He's now addicted to the air fryer. So yes, there are things you can do, aren't there?
There's a lot you can do. Yes.
Think about it, consciously engage with it, you know, grow your own, etc. So the next one, your next number 2 on your top tips is set healthy boundaries.
Yeah. That has been probably one of the most common issues that I've come across working with clients. So for instance, I had a chap last year who had imposter syndrome. He was waking up in a cold sweat every morning. He was worried about what does he say in meetings. And actually I think, well, what is your role in that meeting? You know, you don't have to be an expert on everything. You don't have to know everything. And it's also about saying no, you know, because otherwise you just get dumped. You like to get dumped on.
Yeah.
So there's ways of saying no. You know?
I have this thing about go for the no.
Yes.
Go for the no. And try and get 10 no's. You'll never do it.
No, don't do it, because if you keep saying yes, then people will keep coming to you and dumping things on you, basically.
Exactly.
But I think it's also about personal boundaries.
Yeah.
So particularly, again, saying no. So particularly the sort of grandmothers that I've worked with, the women of that age who are still working or going into retirement. So I've coached on retirement. You know, the granddaughters or grandsons are saying, you know, oh, right, you'll be available to look after the children then, won't you? And I know one woman actually moved away. She actually moved away.
Yeah.
Because she said, I can't deal with this. You know, you have to have a life as well. So it's just making sure you set those healthy boundaries. So it's about managing your relationships with people, so people understand your needs and wants.
Yeah, it's not selfish, is it? It's about self-care.
Yeah.
And we get that as a culture. We get those two mixed up, I think, a lot.
Yes.
Selfish and self-care.
Yeah, it's
We've
not
been told
selfish to look
it's not
after yourself.
selfish. It's actually selfish not to look after yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you won't be around to help when people really need you to help.
No.
In a proper crisis.
And you're going to end up, being exhausted, low energy, stressed.
Yeah, ill.
Everything, and feeling like you're not in control. And that's another big factor. It's a bit like Desert Island Discs with this list. I think, oh no, what can I leave out?
Yeah, I know. I'm always like that when I'm like, stick to 7.
It's being in control. What can you control? And that is something you can control.
Yeah. Very often when I'm faced with things, I ask myself those questions. Can I change it? Can I influence it? And if I can't, I have to let it go and move on.
Yeah.
Not dwell on it all day and make my today horrible. Yeah, it's very good advice. Self-care needs to be an integral part of your daily life, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And just gratitude and with the positive psychology, think about, okay, well, what went well today?
Yeah.
Every evening when you go to bed, think, okay, what went well today?
Yeah.
What could I do differently? If it didn't go as well as I hoped, what could I do differently? What would I change?
I know my daughter rang me last night and she'd had a bit of a difficult day. And she said she was in the bath and she said, I've got to do a Lesley. I'm going to have to do some meditating and gratitude.
Yeah.
I was like,
meditating, love meditating. It's not for everybody, but it's something you have to practice. But I can almost sometimes feel my head getting lighter.
Yeah.
You haven't got
Yeah.
And it's just taking time out.
It's just breathing at the end of the day.
Yeah, breathing.
Because I think when we get stressed, we stop breathing properly. It's like when we get stressed, we stop walking properly. We kind of start walking oddly and we stop breathing properly as well when we get stressed. Yes. And then that creates really bad habits. And meditating helps you get everything kind of upright.
It does. It rewires your brain.
Yeah.
But you have to practice. It's not a quick fix.
No, you can't just go, oh, I'm going to meditate for once in a year.
Well, I've done it for 10 minutes, so I should feel better now.
Why aren't I completely fixed? I know. And that's a whole nother conversation about there's no magic pill for the answer. Life is a long game.
Yeah.
The next one is be true to your values every day. Ethics.
Be the person you want to be, or be the person you are.
Yeah.
I know, and it's understanding your values and recognizing those values, because again, I think that's something else that's in our subconscious, and we don't realize it until they're challenged. So like when I've worked for a company, I worked for a company a few years ago and they were taken over by an American firm, and it just I can't explain, but I just didn't want to go in, because they didn't value time with our clients. It was like almost, we used to say with other coaches, we're not a sausage machine. We don't put people through a sausage machine. We care about people.
Yeah.
And that philosophy, that culture, for me, it wasn't caring about people.
Yeah, I worked for an American company, and I left. Don't get me wrong, I had a time of my life. I worked for Coca-Cola and I had the time of my life. We did great stuff and had great fun as a team within the business of Coca-Cola, but the ethos of what they were about, and the minute they said we need to get Coca-Cola into every mother's shopping basket, the same as tea, I was like, what? I'm out.
No.
I'm out. Sorry.
No.
It's just gone way outside my values, and I can't do it. And it was heartbreaking because I loved all the people I worked with.
I
had such great fun doing it. So it was hitting so many of the values of having joy, going to work and having joy, but couldn't do it. Made me feel and you know what, I've got a reflex response right now. I feel sick.
Yeah,
I still feel
I've
sick.
had that. Yeah, I have had that years ago.
In my whole mouth, I feel sick.
I felt nauseous going into work.
Yeah, I've had that muscle response to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's such a shame. I mean, they've turned themselves around. They're a completely different company now, I'm pleased to say. And it's fine. But at that point, when I was there, that was one of the things. And they don't do that. They have a completely different ethos for the business now. And, maybe working there now would be fine, but not for it. At that moment, it was wrong for me. And I had to make that decision in the moment. And it was obviously right, because I'm still having a reflex about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Right. Yeah, because you're not going to be happy.
No,
and you're not
exactly.
you're not going to perform as well.
No, I knew I couldn't do it. So therefore I wasn't going to be able to carry through their ambition. And I had to, and as I say, fortunately, obviously someone else has changed that ethos, and that's great. And they're a different company now. Number 4 is your comfort zone is your enemy. Also agree with that. Yeah.
I think I always say, I don't think you really know what your comfort zone is until you try and reach out of it. So stretch it a bit wider. So maybe do something a little bit, not risky, but something you haven't done before. If I hadn't taken risks, then I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have grown as a person and professionally. So this is probably a bit extreme, but when I changed career from executive search to coaching, I actually sold my house.
Wow.
To finance the change. And it was about 4 months before I got any work. But the feeling of relief, of joy, of freedom was, I just couldn't explain. And I can remember standing on one of the London bridges with a friend of mine she hadn't sold her house, but she just joined the same consultancy. And we just stood there and went, yay, and waved her arms in the air. And I was so happy. That is an extreme case, obviously. But I think unless we get out of our comfort zone, we don't know what we're capable of.
Well, nothing.
Who sets your comfort zone?
I was going to say,
comfort zone's in your head.
Yeah, nothing exciting happens in the comfort zone, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Only excitement only comes, and as I say, many experiences like the one I just said. I mean, I just leapt out, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
But from a very comfortable, very well-paid job to going out into. I think I went back to, I actually remember what I did. I walked into Windsor Art School and asked if I could do a degree in some form of art. And that's what set me on this journey where I am today. So thank you so much. Coca-Cola, it was an amazing opportunity that you gave me. Like you said, with every moment comes an opportunity to change. And that set me on my life path. And if I hadn't done that, who knows what I would be doing now? I don't know.
Exactly. I think as you were saying earlier, you just stay stuck.
And it wouldn't have been wrong. It just would have been different. Yeah. And I don't know what that looked like. I know what this looks like now. And I'm really happy that I did it.
And I think obviously so much of that is around self-confidence. It's having the confidence to, as I say, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, be brave.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I say that so often. What's the worst that could happen? Are you going to die? If you're not going to die, give it a go. I pretty much will give, as long as it's legal and I'm not going to die, I'll pretty much give everything a go once. And if it's a disaster, we just never talk about it again.
It's a disaster. At least you've tried, haven't you? You've tried. It didn't work. So, okay.
Yeah,
what next?
Exactly. And I did think that when I was doing it, I was like, what are you fool? What are you doing? You're leaving a really good, well-paid job where you're very, well respected and everything, and you could probably influence I didn't ask this question. I could have probably influenced a change. I don't know. I didn't try. I just leapt out. And actually, I was a very, very shy child, so that was quite a thing for me to suddenly get the confidence to go, no, actually, this is my moment. It's a trigger, and I can now try something different. It gave me permission.
Yeah. I'm quite. Well, not believe it. I'm quite shy as well, I think. I'm quite introverted. But having said that, I've always wanted to do the best for me. I always say to myself, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
Don't stay stuck here. You can do more. Yeah. And I've proved it to myself over time.
Do you think that comes with upbringing? Do you think that comes with
yeah,
upbringing?
absolutely.
Yeah.
My parents, you know, I wanted to leave school when I was 16,
Mm.
and they said, we'll disown you if you do that. So, you know, you can do it. Is that you can do better than that.
Yeah, so you can hear your
Kind of
parents saying
philosophy.
that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No, I definitely can. There was definitely an expectation on me to do well. And even though I was very shy, I would describe myself very much as an introvert, extrovert.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put on a different face. You know, when I'm running workshops, I have to put on a different face.
Yeah.
But you know,
yeah. My
much rather be
family,
one-to-one.
I was going to say, my family know a different person to the persona that is out in the public, for sure, for sure. So the next one, practice, comes back round to the setting the healthy boundaries, I think, is practice self-care and self-compassion, which we talked about, didn't we?
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself.
It's really, don't be hard on yourself. I think life is hard enough, can be hard enough sometimes. So don't beat yourself about the head. And I think a big part of that is that voice in your head as well. For me and a lot of people that I've worked with, it's that saboteur saying, you're not good enough. Why did you do that? Why did you say that? Oh, you just sent that email and there was a mistake on it, wasn't there? And what I do, what I've learned to do is practice self-talk, positive self-talk. And what you can do is give a name to that voice, because it's not necessarily you. It's a voice that's invariably trying to keep you safe, but it's also holding you back. And it's critical. So you can give it a name of somebody that you really don't like. Or what you can do is write a list of things it's saying and counter them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to listen to that voice. We just try and shut down that chatter in your head. And that's about the resilience, about not dwelling on things. Because I think we have about, what is it, 60,000 thoughts going through our heads every day.
120,000, something
yeah,
like that.
and it's the ones
lot.
that we choose to latch onto and elaborate.
Yeah.
You know, if you're meditating, they say, you know, your thoughts are like clouds, they just come and they go. But it's the ones we choose to think, oh, I'm going to sit and think about that one, and it catastrophizes everything. And
oh my goodness,
you know, because it's human nature.
Don't talk to me about that.
Human nature to think the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, you can choose to think the best, can't you? Good enough. A phrase I use is good enough is good enough.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I've had a couple of incidents of that recently, where I had a client who sent out an email with one error on it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to send out a apology email. I was like, no, you don't need to do that.
People might not even notice.
They probably haven't even noticed.
No.
And maybe one person. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But absolutely, it doesn't actually matter, because it's gone now. It's in the past. Let it go and think about what you're going to do next. And think about the positive.
Yeah.
And don't worry about that. It's gone. It's in the past. And as you say, it is the thoughts that you choose to amplify.
Yes.
So pick good ones.
Yeah. Just look after yourself. Get exercise, as I was saying in my first one. Exercise, eat healthily, connect with friends.
Yeah. None of us are perfect.
Get perspective. Exactly. Don't let good get in the. Don't let perfect get.
Yeah. Don't let perfect get in the way of good.
I knew I'd get that wrong.
Don't let perfect get in the way.
Get in the way of good.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because who's setting the standard to perfect? Who's setting the bar on perfect? That is, what do they say? That is relative. That's relative. My perfect level will be a different level to your perfect level.
Yes.
So who set that standard? And you're assuming that the person who you're talking to is got the same perfect level as you. And what does assumption do?
Absolutely.
Crikey. Yeah. Never assume. That
is the
work of the devil.
Defining success, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Live by your own definition. And that brings us straight on to the next one, your number 6, which is live in the present.
Oh, that yeah, it does actually. I think it connects with the self-care bit, really. Because we're inclined to spend so much time looking back at what's happened.
Yeah.
You know, I spend quite a lot of time thinking about the future and what's going to happen in the future and how the business is going to develop and blah, blah, blah. When actually you can only live in the present.
Mm. Yeah, we
So
live in now, don't we? Lots of series of
exactly,
nows.
exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, you can plan for the future, but it's being present today and focusing on work, life now. It's almost like being in the flow, isn't it?
Mm.
When you're doing something that you enjoy, or you're just living a good life, but in the moment. And that comes back to the meditation, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, just doing things you enjoy and having that sense of purpose and meaning and enjoyment in whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be work, obviously. There's more to life than work.
Mm.
But yeah,
Well,
just making them.
I work with people who've made art, which is a lot of people's hobbies, into their business, and it's finding the balance and staying in the present moment, remembering why you did this. You didn't do this to suffer. You did this because it gave you enormous pleasure and you wanted to give other people enormous pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. And it helps to reduce that sort of level of overthinking that we're all
That thing about staying too much in your head.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody said recently, I was attending an online conference, and they said, get out of that small world in your head because it's a big world out there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was got it down to a T, really.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much out there to experience.
Exactly.
And, and I know and we should value it now, because we've just been through 2 years of, constant lockdowns where we've been told to stay in our own house and then in our own house and garden, that we should now understand that, there is a big world out there for us to see, explore, be curious, gain new knowledge.
Exactly.
Gain new understanding of how other people live their lives. I mean, I saw that terrible thing on Somalia last night with the drought and how climate change is affecting, get out there and see that. Can we influence that? Is there something we can do? I'm sure there's something I can do every day that might have a small impact on that. And if we all do something tiny, that'll have a massive impact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's getting out, breaking out of the habits. So much of what we do is habit and routine. It's breaking out of that and, as you say, exploring a bigger world out there.
Yeah.
Getting new interests.
Yeah.
Learning.
Asking questions.
Asking questions.
Ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the final one on your top tips is connect with people's friends, work colleagues. And that's how we got to know each other. So that's a really lovely one to kind of like bring it to an end on.
Yeah, I think, again, if we go back to the pandemic, that was a big thing, wasn't it? That we lost connection with people and it was all on Zoom. And as good as Zoom is, it's not the same as face to face, actually meeting people. But I think for me, and as a human being, I just feel so much better when I've chatted to a friend. I'm going out for a walk with a friend on Friday. It's that social connection, isn't it? And the cohesion, and maybe, sharing your stories, sharing your problems, if that helps, as long as it doesn't turn into a moan fest. You've got to have something constructive come out of that.
But sharing is caring, isn't it? And it's
exactly.
just, share and be a part of, Pure is a community, and we all like look after each other, and we go out together and we do things together, and doing something with other people is so much more fun.
Yeah.
And so much more rewarding than doing it on your own. I mean, being on your own, don't get me wrong, I really do like being on my own sometimes.
No.
But I also like doing stuff with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a community, we went to Paris just recently, and it was just the best. I know. Come next time. You're very welcome to come. Come with us.
I went there in May, actually. Yeah.
We went to the Paris Art Fair. Honestly, it was one of the best things I've done in such a long time. There was 10 of us, I think. And we went out for dinner and we walked through the city and we took the tour bus and we went to the art fair and we made such amazing connections. And I saw Paris through the eyes of these other people. And that was an amazing experience. There were 2 people with us who had never been to Paris before. And I was like, wow, I'm seeing it as if for the first time now through their eyes. And that was incredible. Yeah. So join networking groups like we, do with the whole, so sad I can't come to the Christmas one. So annoyed. But join groups, join networking, get to know people in your local area. Community is so, just go out for coffee.
Absolutely. Go volunteer.
Go and volunteer.
I'm going to start volunteering again.
Yeah.
I love volunteering. I'm not a club joining person. I haven't got lots of hobbies and that sort of thing, but I do like volunteering.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going in after I finish this recording with you. I'm going to see someone at a charity called Seaview in Hastings that works with the homeless, and I've done a project with them during the first part of the year, and I just loved it, and I connected, and I think I got more out of it going than they got out of me being there. If I'm honest, I will, be perfectly honest with you. It opened my eyes to so many new ways of being, and I got such warmth from those people. And I'm going to see them again today, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to, I wonder how so-and-so is, and I wonder what Mick's doing, and I wonder how Andy is, and I wonder how the garden's coming on, and just doing that and volunteering your time. You don't have to do it every week. I did it for a period of time, and then going back today to see them. It's just, it fills you up, fills your kind of wellness and love back up, doesn't it?
Because you're learning new things, you're gaining different perspectives, and again, it's about common humanity, isn't it? Oh, you felt like that as well, have you? I bring my vulnerability into working with clients sometimes when it's appropriate. Because I'm human as well. I'm not setting myself up to be a Miss Perfect or the expert on everything. But I think that shared humanity is so important.
Yeah.
And that
sharing your
learning
journey
and understanding about different perspectives and views, and it's just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Different life journeys that people have been on and where it's led them, and
knowing
that there's always options.
Yeah.
To imagine something different.
I think that's the important thing. There's always an option.
Thank you so much, Sally.
That's
been absolutely amazing. And I think people will get so much out of that. And your 7 top tips were brilliant. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that the 7 top tips are actually up on the Pure website as well in the journal, so people will be able to see them, and it'll have all your contact details there. So if people want to contact you directly, they can do that as well. So it'll be in the journal section of the Pure Arts Group website that they'll be able to find you. And also this will be on YouTube, and your contact details will be in there. So anyone who's watching this, hopefully you can see the Sally's contact details in the comments underneath. So thank you, Sally, very much.
Thank you, Lesley,
and for sharing your empathy and your lovely personality and your top tips and experience with us.
Thank you, Lesley. Thank you.